You know, I never thought my quiet little retirement up in the Colorado hills would turn into some wild thriller straight out of a movie. But here we are, folks. It all started one crisp morning when Susan Blackwell pulled up in her shiny black SUV, clipboard in hand, looking like she owned the whole damn Willow Creek community. She was the HOA queen bee, the kind who lived for nitpicking fences and paint colors. But deep down, I could tell this was personal. Her family had been eyeing my grandpa's old cabin for years, whispering about prime real estate that could boost their fancy resort down the valley. And I guess she finally decided to make her move. She struts up, heels sinking into the gravel like she's on a mission from God, and hits me with that fake smile, saying, "Mr. Thompson, we've got some serious issues here. Your rickety old fence doesn't match our modern standards, and that cabin of yours is dragging down property values for everyone." I just stood there, wiping sawdust off my hands from fixing up the place Grandpa William built back in the 40s, feeling my blood pressure tick up, because this wasn't about aesthetics. It was about control, about her pushing folks like me out to expand her empire. And yeah, maybe a touch of jealousy since my land overlooked the lake where her resort sat pretty. But I kept cool, replying, "Susan, this fence has stood longer than your rules have existed. It's family history." And she just laughs that sharp, cutting laugh. "History, honey, in Willow Creek. We evolve or we get left behind. Fix it in 24 hours or I'll have the sheriff here to enforce it." That night, her words gnawed at me like a bad dream. I paced the creaky floors, thinking about Grandpa, how he'd always said this land held secrets worth protecting. And sure enough, in his old bedroom, I found this carved oak box tucked away, heavy with more than just memories. Inside were black and white photos from '43, showing him in uniform. Not the school teacher I'd thought, but Captain William Thompson, part of some wartime intel op right here on this property, guarding what looked like strategic spots around the lake. And there was a note in his steady handwriting, "Jack, if Susan's coming for you, she's after the gold veins under the water. I've been tracking her shady deals for years. Check the map behind the landscape painting and the bunker under the shed. Don't let her win, son. This is our legacy." My heart raced, realizing Grandpa hadn't died of a natural heart attack like we'd thought. He'd been on to her scheme to mine illegal gold hidden under her resort as a front, bribing officials and strong-arming neighbors to grab more land. And now she wanted mine to access the richest vein. The next day, when Officer Tom Reynolds rolls up with Susan trailing behind, smirking like she'd already won, I felt that fire ignite. This wasn't just about a fence anymore. It was about honoring Grandpa's fight, about standing up to someone who'd manipulated the whole community with her HOA power trips, turning friends against each other over petty rules while she plotted underground fortunes. She points at the fence, dramatic as ever. "See, officer. Total eyesore. And honestly, Mr. Thompson's been acting erratic, maybe unstable after losing his grandpa." Tom looks uneasy, a decent guy caught in the middle, and says, "Let's hear your side, Jack." That's when I nod, calm but building inside, and head to the shed, pulling out not a gun or anything crazy, but this detailed 3D model Grandpa had sketched out, now laser-equipped from my old engineering days in the military, projecting glowing lines that mapped the land boundaries clear as day. Susan's eyes widen as I flip the switch. The lasers show my family owns half the resort's ground, built illegally on Thompson land. And deeper scans reveal the gold deposit snaking right under her fake lake, worth millions if extracted black market style. This is forgery," she stammers, her voice cracking for the first time, that predatory gleam fading into panic, because she knew deep down she'd been caught in her web of greed, driven by her husband's gambling debts and her own thirst for control, thinking no one would dig deep enough. Tom examines the old federal deed I'd found hidden in the painting. His face serious. "Ma'am, these seals look legit. This changes everything from a neighborhood spat to potential fraud." She freezes, mouth agape, as I add with a quiet edge, "Susan, you thought you could bully me out like the others, but Grandpa prepared for folks like you. Now the truth's out, and it's your turn to explain." From there, it snowballed. She hit back hard, flooding local news and social media with stories calling me a delusional hermit, waving fake papers, twisting our encounter to make me the villain, all to protect her operation tied to some shady overseas investors hungry for that gold. But I wasn't backing down. I went live on my phone, streaming the model for the world to see, narrating Grandpa's evidence step by step. And that's when my neighbor, old Mrs. Evelyn Hayes, chimes in on the feed. Turns out she's a retired clerk who'd been snapping photos of Susan's late-night surveys, whispering, "I've got recordings, too, Jack." She's been bribing folks left and right. The views exploded, and Susan calls in furious, her voice blasting through. "You have no clue what you're unleashing, Thompson. Back off now." But that only fueled the fire, exposing her threats. And soon the FBI shows up, Agent Lisa Torres leading the charge, confirming the gold mining was real, illegal, and linked to a bigger syndicate. Her son, young Alex, cracked the case wide open one rainy afternoon, showing up at my door with a backpack of stolen maps. Tears in his eyes, saying, "Mom forced me to help hide the waste. She said it was just business, but after your stream, I couldn't anymore." His testimony painted Susan as the mastermind, motivated by years of resentment toward families like mine who wouldn't sell out, and worse, hints that Grandpa's heart attack was poison, ordered to silence his suspicions. The climax hit that stormy night when her goons stormed the property. Susan leading in tactical gear, barking, "Burn the evidence. End this tonight." But Grandpa's old defenses kicked in, floodlights blinding them, speakers blaring his recorded warning, trespassers on protected land, authorities en route. I watched from inside, heart pounding, as Evelyn, ex-Marine sniper who knew, steps out with her rifle steady, yelling, "Drop it, Susan, or I drop you." I've taken down worse threats than a greedy HOA tyrant. She crumples, explosive device hitting the dirt. FBI swarming in, cuffing her as Alex broadcasts her final rants live. This isn't over. You've poked a hornet's nest. In the end, Susan got 25 years for fraud, environmental crimes, and yeah, murder. Her empire crumbled. The community dissolved the HOA, turning the lake into a preserve named after Grandpa William, and I even got to consult on sustainable mining research with Alex staying on, his family now helping run the place. Property values soared without her iron fist. Neighbors apologizing for buying her lies. And we started a foundation to fight bully tactics like hers. But here's the thing that keeps me up sometimes, was she just one cog in a bigger machine? Those overseas connections that Victor she mentioned, are they still out there, watching? Makes you wonder if justice ever really wraps up neat. What do you think? Have you dealt with an HOA nightmare or a neighbor gone power mad? Was Susan pure evil or just desperate? Drop your stories in the comments. Hit like if this fired you up. Subscribe for more real-life twists and share. If you've got a tale of fighting back, let's keep the conversation going because these battles, they're everywhere.